Welcome to the 11th chapter of the book of Genesis, and begins with the Tower of Confusion. It doesn't say Babel in the Greek. And it begins, Kein pasa igi helos en, and all the earth was one helos, lip. Ke phoni mia pasi, and one voice to all. Phonia, phone is a derivative, so we will underline that right there. Ke geneto ento kinise aftus apo anatolon. And it came to pass in their kinese, moving, kinetics is a derivative, we've had that before, from the Anatolon, east, and that is what they call Anatolian Turkey today. Evron, Pethion, and Gi, Sennaar. And they found a plain in the land of Shinar. The land of Shinar is in the Mesopotamian river area. We'll go to there right here. We get a map up, and there it is. It's down here by Sumer, Babylon, the southern part. That's all called the plain of Shinar. And they dwelt there, ke katokisan aki. Verse 3. Ke ipen anthropos, anthropology, to plesion avtu. And a man said to his neighbor, Devte plinthevsomen, plinthus. Come, let us make bricks. Ke opti somen aftas piri, and let us bake them in fire. So they're not stone that was chiseled out, but they were bricks, and they were baked in piri. We have a pyromaniac, has to do with the fire, the pyr. Ke ageneto aftis e plinthos is lithon, and the brick became to them as stone. So they were building with these more or less adobe bricks, as we call them in the United States and the Southwest. And lithon, lithography, carving on stone, lithograph. Ke asphaltos in aftis e pilos, and asphalt was their mortar. So they had some type of tar, same material that Noah used to build the ark, cover it, make it waterproof. Asphaltos. So we should underline that one there. Now, 805.2 won't be in the English derivative books because it's only appears in the Old Testament, and the English derivatives are of the New Testament. So you can add this maybe to that book if you get it. In verse 4, Ke ipon, Thevte ikodomisomen iaftis polin, Ke pirgon u I kephali este eos tu uranu. And they said, Come, let us build ourselves a city, a polin, metropolis, and a pyrgon. Here's pyr, that's fire. So actually a fire tower type thing, of which the top will be unto the uranu, heaven, Uranus. The plan is derivative. Ke, let us make to ourselves, ke piisomen iaftis onoma pro to the asparine, epi prosopu pasis tis gis. Let us make to ourselves a name before the being scattered upon the face of all the earth. So they must have had some type of an inkling that something was going to happen, that they were going to be scattered, because they were mentioning this being scattered, but it hadn't happened yet. So the last chapter mentions being the division, so this isn't necessarily in the same time frame. In verse 5, Ke katevi Kyrios idin tin polin ke ton pyrgon. And the Lord went down to look at the city and the tower. It mentions in other places that God walks among men, especially in the camp, the children of Israel, and they had to have a shovel with themselves to cover their dung. on okodomisen ii ton anthropon, which the sons of men built. So they're going to see what the sons of men did. 11. Ke ipe Kyrios, and the Lord said, Idhu genos en, ke helos en panton. Behold, there is one genos, a genus, kind, and one lip for all. So maybe all are of the same race. Ke tuto irxanto pise, and this they began to do. Ta nin uk eclipse exafton panta osa an epithonte pien. The things now shall not fail from them, all as much as they might attempt to do. So this was a problem of man doing things that were causing man to put themselves up as God, apparently. We can look at today and see the things that man is trying to do with DNA, processing the DNA and changing it all over. And who knows what man could come up with. So maybe God is going to do something like this again. I don't know. It's just interesting. Verse 7, Thevte ke katavantes synkeomen glossen afton. Come, and going down, let us confound their glossen, their tongue. And it's used as a language because it's a figure of speech. It's not actually their tongue. He's not going to tie the tongue. So you have to look at the figures of speech as we mentioned earlier. They're so important in the Bible. So I use the word language, although there's also the word dialectos, a dialect. Ina mi akusos en ekastos tin phonis tu polision, that they should not each hearken to the phonies, phone, derivative, to his neighbor, akusosin, akuo, echo, is a derivative of that word, phone here. Underline these. 8k, diaspire Kyrios avtus, ekethan, epi ton prosopon pasis tis gis. And the Lord scattered them from there upon the face of all the earth, or the land. Ke apav santo ikodomuntas tin polin ke ton pyrgon. And they ceased building the city and the tower. Verse 9, Diatuto eklithi to onoma avtis syncasis. On account of this, the name of it, that is the city, was called syncasis, confusion. It wasn't Babel, but in the Greek it's syncasis, confusion. Oti eki syneke Kyrios ta heli pasis tis gis. Because there the Lord confounded the lips of all the earth. Confounded is the verb for the confusion. Ke akethan diaspiren avtus o Kyrios epi prosopon pasis tis gis. And from there the Lord scattered them upon all the face of all the earth. So he's confounding the lips. Well, you can question, well, wouldn't it take generations to confound a lip, a language of somebody? And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about, well, not necessarily for the people in the United States, in some of the large cities, Eubonics, a language of the street the black people, the common language for some of the young people. Eubonics has been basically developed within the last 40 years maybe. So this is, for people to come up with this language is a possibility that they started changing them right away. I don't know how the Lord could confound the lips of the people, but this is what it says that he did. Somehow we do have languages today, and somehow they were changed. In verse 10, Ke avte e genesis sim. Genesis, the name of this book of Shem. Shem is a line that's mentioned that Jesus came through, and then the third chapter of Luke. Ke in sim ekaton eton ote egenese ton arphaxad, also mentioned in Luke 3. Devteru etus meta ton cataclysmon, the Devteru, Deuteronomy, the second book of the Bible. Cataclysm, we've had these before. Ke ezise sim meta to genise avtos ton arphaxad, pente ke triaconta ke triacosius eti. And Shem lived after his procreating Arphaxad, pente, 5, pentagon, and tria, 3, tri, onta, the T, and triacosius, there's the 300, the osius, eti, and he, ke agenesen, eus ke thigateras, the thigater and the daughter, the similar spelling, ke apethene, and he died. Ke ezisen arphaxad, ekaton triaconta pente eti, ke agenese ton kainan. This is not Canaan, but Kainan, also mentioned in Luke 3. Verse 13, Ke ezisen arphaxad meta to genise avton to Kainan eti triacosia triaconta. Ke agenesen eus ke thigateres, ke apethenen. Ke ezise kainan ekaton ke triaconta eti. Ke agenese ton sala, also in Luke 3. Ke ezise kainan meta to genise avto ton sala eti triacosia triaconta. Ke agenesen eus ke thigateres ke apethene, and he died after all these years. Verse 14, ke ezise sala ekaton triaconta eti, ke agenese ton ever. Heber is also in Luke. Some of these spellings are different in Luke. Ke ezise sala meta to genese avton ton eber, triacosia triaconta eti, ke egen nisen, eus ke thigateres ke apethene. 16, ke ezisen eber ekaton triaconta tessera eti, tessera, 4, ke agenese ton phalek, Peleg, and he's also in the New Testament in Luke 3. 17, ke ezisen ever meta to genise avton ton phalek, eti triacosia ebdomiconta, there's the 70, ebdomi, 7. Ke agenisen eus ke thigateres ke apethene. 18. Ke ezise phalek triaconta ke ekaton eti, ke agenise ton ragav, and that is pronounced ragau in the New Testament. In the Old Testament they used reu in the King James. Verse 19. Ke ezise phalek meta to genise avton ton ragav, enea ke thiacosia eti. Enea is 9, and thea is 2, die is 2. Ke agenesen eus ke thigateres ke apethene. Verse 20. Ke ezise ragav ekaton triaconta ke theo eti. Theo is 2, duet. Ke agenesen ton seruk. Serug is also in the 3rd chapter of Luke. 21. Ke ezise ragav meta to genise avton ton seruk thiacosia epta eti. Ke agenesen eus ke thigateres ke apethene. 22. Ke ezise seruk ekaton triaconta eti ke agenesen ton Nahor, and Nahor is in Luke 3. 11:23. Ke ezese seruk meta to geni se avton ton Nahor eti diakosia. Seruk lived 200 years after. Ke agenesen ius ke thigateres ke apethene. In verse 24. This is a general overview that we're given. It goes into specifics down into verse 27. Ke ezese Nahor eti ebdomikon ta enea. Ke agenese ton Terah. And Terah is in Luke also. 11:25. Ke ezese Nahor meta to genise afton ton Thara. Eti ekaton ikosienia. Ke agenesen ius ke thigateres ke apethene. He died. Ke ezese Thara ebdomikon ta eti. Ke agenese ton Avram, ke ton Nahor, ke ton Aran. The three brothers. And then it begins to change here, get more specific in the generations of Terah. Avte the agenesis Thara agenese ton Avram, ke ton Nahor, ke ton Aran. And now those three brothers. Ke Aran agenese ton Lot. Well, we have a little diagram we'll bring up here in a few minutes that'll help understand all this after we get through a few of these people. 11:28. Ke apethenen Aran. Enopion Thara to Patros intigi e agenisthi inti hora ton Haldeon. And Haran died in the presence of Terah, his father, in the land in which he was procreated in the region of the Chaldeans, that is the plain of Shinar. So that, but he did have also a daughter, Milcah, who a sister of Lot, and Milcah ends up marrying her uncle Nahor. It says that here in a little bit, so explain this a little bit, help you out, understand all this, which I needed help, and I got it all pretty well diagrammed. Ke eleven Avram, ke Nahor Iavtis Ginekas, and Abraham and Nahor took to themselves wives. Avram is not Abraham. His name was changed later, as was Sarah's. The name Onoma Tigine Ki Avram Sarah, and the name of a wife of Abraham was Sarah. Ke Onoma Tigine Ki Nahor Melcha Thigatir Aran. Ke patir Melcha, ke patir Eska. And he also had other children. Bethuel, I believe, is one. That was Milcah was the grandmother of Rebekah when they sent for a wife for Isaac. 11:30. Ke in Sarah stira. Was sterile. It's almost a direct transliteration. We'll underline that one there. Ke uk etek nopii, and she was not able to produce children. 11:31. Ke eleve Thara ton Avram ion avtu. Ke ton Lot ion Aran, Haran, who died, ion tu iu avtu. His son, Ke tin Saran, tin Nymphin avtu. So Terah is taking those two sons and their wives. Gineka Avram, tu iu avtu. Ke exiga gen avtus ektis Horus, ton Haldeon, as it plain of Shinar, porev thine is tin gin Hanaan. Ke ilthon eos Haran. And now this has got a he, looks like an X. It's not, the Aran which in the English they both spelt the same, Haran. It gets confusing because you have a person up here called Haran, and you got a place called Haran, but you can see the difference. There's a alpha, re, alpha, ni. And here it's he, alpha, re, alpha, ni. And they dwelt safely there. In verse 32, Ke agenon to imere thara in Haran diakosia pente eti ke apethene thara in Haran. Now Haran is believed to be way up here towards the top of the Mesopotamian area, and it says in really a great book, it's thrashed, it's an old one, it's the People's Bible Dictionary, and it was published, probably someplace in 1924. And it says, I'll read it, that it is said to be in Mesopotamia, Haran, in 2410, more definitely in Padan Aram, 2520, in 2410. Sennacherib, in his letter to Hezekiah, names Haran as among the towns taken by his predecessor, 2 Kings 19:12, Isaiah 37:12. It is mentioned by Ezekiel in 27:23 among the places which traded with Tyre, which is way up in Phoenicia, up here. Use two hands and try to Phoenicia up in here, Tyre. There's Tyre. So it was believed to be up in here someplace, Padam Aram. This trade would be very natural, as Haran was the frontier town of Babylon, commanding both the roads and fords of the Euphrates. Quote, it was the city of the moon god, the foundation of whose temple went back to prehistoric times and was restored by Nabonidus. So this is the place that the father, Terah, went. And to give you a little bit of idea on the people, we will go right here, and you'll see Terah. And here are his three sons, Abram, wife Sarah with a W, Nahor, wife Milcah, and Haran, we're not given the wife's name, and Haran. His son was Lot. Daughter is Milcah. She married her uncle, Nahor. Lot went to Canaan, and Abram with Sarah went to Canaan. And Haran died in Shinar. And Abram, Nahor, his wife Milcah, they ended up staying in Haran. And later they sent for a wife, we mentioned earlier, to the people that came out of this marriage between the two for Rebekah. And then later Jacob fled there. And now, to give you a little bit of an idea here, in Shinar, they were all born. And then Haran, they moved to Haran. And then Terah and Nahor. Terah died there, and Nahor stayed and then died, of course. And then Abram and Lot went to Canaan. So I hope this puts a little bit of this into perspective. And we'll continue in the next chapter, and hope you will join us, and God bless.